The Converted Man here. Today's meme is the meme that atheists believe that the universe came out of nothing. Of course, this is not an actual attack. It is a straw man, and that's all it is. Atheism and atheists is a simple word that somehow the theologians just don't comprehend. I don't know why this is so difficult, but it simply means without God. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. It doesn't mean a belief in X, Y, or Z. We don't know what or how the universe was created, or even if it was created, or sprang into being, or began to exist, or whatever words you want to attach to that. Science would be the place to turn. If anything is going to answer the question of origin, it would be, I think, science, because it studies everything, and the universe is something that we could study. Can we study how it started? Well, we can make computer simulations and things like this, and we can study particles when we run them into each other, and that gives us some ideas. So, in a way, we can indirectly study it. But no, we can't go back in time, at least not yet, to when it began to study it. Of course, if we could go in time, then we could just go around disproving all the different religions by showing that none of the events actually occurred. And I guess there would also be problems with paradox if we had time travel. But nonetheless, we don't have that ability. But we do have other abilities within science that could enable us to study the origins of the universe. But we don't believe necessarily anything about that. Just because I don't believe in God doesn't mean then therefore I must believe X is true. In this case, it does not mean that simply because I lack a belief in God that I must then therefore believe that the universe came into being out of nothing on its own, completely accidentally by chance. However, at the same time, it is odd to me that this is such a bizarre concept, that this is immediately and instantly rejected as something that no one could ever believe, that it would take more faith to believe that, or it is belief in magic itself, or something like that. Look, I'll go wherever the evidence leads, even if it leads to something bizarre like the universe coming from absolutely nothing. Even though we've never seen an absolute nothing, if it did exist and that's where the universe came from, okay. If that's what the evidence leads to, that's what I'll accept. Similarly, if the evidence leads to a deity of any sort, that's what I'll accept. If the evidence led to a wizard with magical powers, that's what I would accept. Whatever the evidence led to is what I would accept, no matter how strange and bizarre it might seem to be to anyone else. Because the strangeness and bizarrity of the answer does not mean that the answer itself is invalid. It simply means that I don't fully understand it, or that we humans don't fully comprehend it, but it does not make it false. To assume or project that it does is to appeal to personal incredulity. I can't believe that the universe came from nothing. Well, why not? Well, because it just can't be. I just don't believe it. But if that's the case, then that's the case. If the truth is that, then that's what the truth is. If the universe sprang from a spigot of water coming from absolutely nothing else, just H2O springing forth out of nothingness, and that's where the universe came from somehow, it makes no sense to me. It defies what I understand about reality. It is something that we need to learn more about, but it doesn't make sense. That doesn't mean I don't believe it, just because it doesn't make sense. If the evidence says that this is the case, then that is what the case is. And it might be that we need to study that evidence, we need to do more exploration of it, we need to try to understand it more, and it might be that the spigot of water is in fact not a spigot of water. It just looks like that to our human senses because it was something that our brains had never encountered before. So it takes objective computerized instruments to study what the phenomenon actually is, and that tells us a whole different story. Who knows? We're not even there yet. But wherever there is where science will get us. The opposite of that is theology. Theology has already made up its mind. Theology, whatever theology you're looking at, has made up its mind on the matter of what and how the universe has been made. Some theologies don't talk about this, but most do. So they've decided that the universe was made in such and such way by such and such deities. That's it. That's the story. They're sticking to it. End of debate. So it doesn't matter what evidence comes forward because their belief cannot and will not change ever, period. Doesn't matter what you present it. It will always be that answer. We will always look for some way to save our theology from being destroyed by tweaking the words and manipulating it so that we can explain away this inconvenient truth. That's what theology is. And you might object to that objective analysis. You might say, no, theology is about the truth, and the truth is that my God exists. That's a nice sentiment, but it's not supported by science, it's not supported by logic, and it is nothing more than a baseless assertion. It's a sentiment, and I say it's nice because it is emotional, and it is usually a nice emotion that produces such a sentiment. But feelings are not a basis to form a view of reality. Your feelings can mislead you. Your feelings can be wrong. So, how do we get to what the answer is? Certainly not by theology, because theology has made up its mind. It has to be through science, because science has not made up its mind yet, and science will get to whatever the answer really for real is. And yes, it might turn out to be your favorite deity, but the evidence isn't pointing that way. It's not looking too good for any deity at this point. But it could maybe point that out, which means you got lucky. It doesn't mean that you came to that conclusion by an overwhelming amount of data and evidence. No, it means that you picked the right one completely by accident. There are 10,000 plus deities and even more different ideas about those deities. Humans seem to have made up all of them. Now, one of them, even though that humans made it up, could still be real. Just because humans made it up doesn't mean it's not real. It just means that I get to be skeptical of it because I recognize that humans made it up. But to avoid the genetic fallacy, I can't just say that it's not real because humans made it up. It could be real in spite of the fact that humans made it up. It's just we need evidence of it. And the only evidence we could ever hope to get is not from that theology that's already made up its mind, but from science. So, why then, if you really think that this is real and true, would you oppose science? Wouldn't science be the very thing that you should promote and send your money to and help out in any way, shape, and form? Because science will eventually show everyone that you were right in the end. If it really is true, then it is science that will prove to everyone that it is true. At least everyone that has a ability to comprehend and accept science. There will be, of course, those who just don't care what the evidence is, and I don't care about those people. I'm not going to deal with those people because those people aren't in reality. In fact, that's kind of my point. This whole straw man is about avoiding reality. The atheist does not say that everything came from nothing. There might be an atheist who says that and firmly believes it. It is not me, but there could be somebody like that. Okay, I would tell them, produce a logical argument. Give me evidence that that's true. Show me the scientific findings. And if they could not or would not do that, then I would say, I must be skeptical of your conclusions. That's how analysis works. It doesn't matter that they're an atheist or whatever. The logic still demands that they perform in a certain way, and if they are unwilling or unable to do that, then whatever their ideas are ones that we have to be skeptical of. Period. End of story. That's how it is. So, this meme of atheists believe that the universe came from nothing, this weak, pathetic straw man, is one that I really hope theologians stop doing. I really would encourage them to stop invoking this meme so much. It has other problems besides just straw man. It also includes a 2Q in there. The idea that, oh, well, you believe the universe came from nothing, and we could say, well, but so do you. Oh, well, but we have God that made the universe out of nothing. So that's different than the universe just coming out of nothing on its own. Okay, but God still didn't come from anything. It's always existed. So why couldn't the thing that made the universe always have existed but not be God? You know, it doesn't really get us anywhere. It doesn't really help us to find the truth. This straw man / 2Q leads us just into a red herring. Theologians, apologists, etc. recognize this meme. Stop using this meme because it invokes logical fallacies. And once you do that, then your conclusion is one that we must be skeptical of because you included a logical fallacy. And unless and until you rid yourself of the logical fallacies, we have to continue to be skeptical of your conclusions.